What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Talk. As usual, I'm your host, Patrick Hennessy, joined tonight by the man, Brian DeGennaro. How we doing today, Brian?
I'm fantastic, Pat. How are you?
Listen, I can't complain, despite the fact that the Yankees have struggled so much as of late, which we are going to talk about today. But before we get into that, everyone be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more. We go live before and after every single Yankees game this season, so stay tuned for that content. But really the main topic I want to focus on today is the Yankees' recent struggles, especially at the plate, and kind of whether or not those struggles at all relate to Marcus Thames as the Yankees hitting coach. So kind of backstory here. Marcus Thames has been a part of the Yankees organization since basically 2015 when he became their assistant hitting coach. After the 2017 season, he became the primary hitting coach. And to be honest with you, Ryan, not much Timms has done since becoming the Yankees hitting coach has impressed me too much, right? If you kind of look at the Yankees track record since then, yes, they've had very good offensive teams. However, I don't know if much of that has to do with Timms as opposed to these guys being developed in the minor leagues, especially AAA, and then coming up and using that knowledge in the Bronx, and then eventually being like corrupted by the Yankees major league coaching staff and kind of going all home run or bust mentality, right? We've seen this with a countless number of guys who also, let me preface this by saying it's not only the Yankees who are kind of acquiring this home run or bust mentality. It's a very league-wide thing. That's why offense is so down. But I mean, you look at the Yankees and you look at so many guys who have previously been contact guys, like a Brett Gardner, for example, who then all of a sudden in 2019 became a power hitter, or like a Gleyber Torres, who was kind of highly touted as such a great contact guy his entire minor league career, and then comes up 2019 power hitter. So you look at these guys that all of a sudden become power hitters, you kind of have to start looking at the hitting coach, Marcus Thames. And with the Yankees struggling so much as of late at the plate, didn't mean to rhyme there, but I did. I mean, it's fair to kind of look at him and say whether or not his job is on the line at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, you look at 2019, right? And you got guys like Brett Gardner, Gleyber Torres, who hit tons and tons of home runs, way more than we expected them to. And a lot of that has to do with the ball, right? Because they've juiced the ball a bit. And it worked at that time, right? Because you had the juice ball, so if you're trying to hit home runs, you're going to run into a few extra ones than you probably would have. So it worked then. But now that the ball's deadened, and even last year, I'm not really sure what the ball was last year, but regardless, it doesn't seem to be working anymore, right? We see guys like Gleyber. He's hit one home run all season, maybe two. I'm not even sure.
I think two, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he struggled so much because of that. Because you see him go up there and just swing for the fences every pitch, and it's just so frustrating to watch because these are the kind of guys that they don't need to be home run or bust hitters, right? We got guys like that. We got Judge, we got Stanton, we got Voit. Those guys are definitely power hitters. They're gonna go up every time, swing for the fences, and they should. Like that's the way that that's their role. But it shouldn't be every single guy in the lineup. You shouldn't have a guy like Brett Gardner going out there trying to hit home runs every time. And we've been criticizing this for a while. You know, we've seen with the Yankees all season these struggles that have been going on. Even when the Yankees were winning games, a lot of that had to do with the pitching. You know, if you're giving up 0-1 runs a game, you have a really good chance of winning. So I agree. I mean, it's definitely a conversation that needs to be had. I mean, Marcus Thames, he's the guy. He's the guy in charge of all of this.
It's fair. I mean, also, like, you kind of look at the Yankees offense this season, right? And kind of looking at the names they have in that lineup, they should be performing a lot better, especially in the situational hitting category, runners in scoring position. Basically, anything that involves not hitting home runs, right? The Yankees are near the bottom of the league when it comes to that. They're one of the worst runners in scoring position teams out there. They just can't seem to put the bat on the ball when they need to the most. And I think that part of that does come from kind of an approach at the plate that's kind of guided by the coaching staff, right? So I think if we ask the question right now, because I think as of right now with the Yankees in this really cold streak, I believe they lost like 6 out of their last 7 or something like that. A lot of people are calling for the jobs of 2 guys. That's Aaron Boone and Marcus Thames. Personally, I don't see Boone going anywhere anytime soon. Mainly because I think the Yankees are so high on him, and also it's tough to fire a manager midseason. It would take a lot for the Yankees to do that. However, I think Marcus Thames is a really different animal, right? I think that it's definitely possible to fire him midseason. But let me ask you the question, Brian. If you're the New York Yankees, you take over as the organizational head for the New York Yankees for the next week or so. Are you firing Marcus Thames, yes or no?
Oh, man, that's a tough question. I think I'm leaning towards yes. If only because this team needs a fire. Like you need to
Yeah,
light a fire under them. Like something has to change because this has been consistent now. This is we're not at the point in the season anymore where we can say, "Oh, it's early. There's time to turn this around." There's a large enough sample size where there are issues here that need to be addressed. And it seems like we're seeing guys get into slumps and then never get out of them. We see guys
true.
like just pretty much everyone in the line. Look at Clint Frazier, a great hitter last year, gets in a slump, can't get out of it, and maybe that's because his approach isn't changing at the plate. We're not
Yeah,
seeing any kind of adjustments being made by the hitting staff, right? And that's normally what you would need the hitting staff for. So
yeah.
I think that yeah, something needs to change, and that's the most logical thing to do. Like you said, it's going to be really really tough to fire a manager midseason because then you got to find a new one, and that's not a quick process, and that's going to take a lot of attention away from the actual games. It's not ideal. But if you fire a hitting coach, that sends a message that says, "Hey guys, you got to step it up. Something needs to change." And then maybe you bring in someone that can actually help these hitters, that can get them out of slumps and change their approach. So I think that's the best move at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree with you. Like, if I'm running the Yankees right now, I'm probably firing Marcus Thames too, and not because I just want to put the guy out of a job, but
No,
only
you never
because,
want that. No.
yeah, but because one, I think having a fresh face in there with maybe a different mentality and a different approach to hitting would be
Yeah,
awesome for the Yankees to have right now. I think it would
absolutely.
improve everyone in the lineup, and two, it would send an absolute shockwave through that clubhouse. The firing
Mm.
of a hitting coach, when the team is struggling offensively so much, it'll really wake these hitters up. They'll be like, damn, like we just got our hitting coach fired because we're performing so poorly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah,
for the new one, they're going to want to perform better.
right.
So I think that would probably be the move at this point. But what the Yankees are going to do, it beats me. It's really confusing because while that is kind of like the logical decision at this point, right? Do I think they're going to do it? Probably not. I think they're probably just going to stick with Tim's for the time being.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of feel the same way as well. I don't see any major changes coming to this coaching staff, and that's really it's bumming me out honestly because something needs to change, man. Like the product that they've been putting on the field is just it's not acceptable for a team of this caliber. The amount of talent that's on that roster for them to be putting up, single, 1 run every night, 2 runs here and there, zero
But
runs, like it's unacceptable.
the thing is, like, you also have so many guys in the lineup who have shown great potential, and when
Absolutely.
they fall into a little slump, they stay in that slump. And I think
Exactly.
that's why a lot of people are coming at Marcus Thames because how aren't you helping Gary Sanchez work through things, Clint
Right.
Frazier work through things, Brett Gardner work through things? How are
Right.
these guys not being improved by the hitting coach? It's just it doesn't
Exactly.
make sense.
Exactly. And that's even just looking at it short term. If you look at it more long term, look at a guy like Gleyber Torres.
Yeah.
Comes up his rookie year, his second year, absolutely rakes. What he hit like 38 home runs or something in 2019. After that, he can't hit. So what happened? Is it because they changed his approach and now it's just not working for him? And he's not the only one. Look at Miguel Andujar. Look at a bunch of the guys on this roster that have just regressed so significantly since coming up to the major leagues.
I agree. I agree. But I mean, I think the bottom line of this conversation is we both agree that yes, Marcus Thames should probably be pulled from his position and replaced with a new guy midseason. However, I think both of us agree at the end of the day, we don't really see the Yankees doing that just because they have these organizational guys. They're not going to part with them midseason. But I think it would be the most intelligent thing for the team to do right now to kind of
Yeah.
get themselves back on track and maybe spark a match in that clubhouse. I have no idea. But
Yeah.
with that being said, that is going to wrap things up for today. Hopefully, the Yankees could pick it up on offense. Their lineup has just been killing the team lately. They need to improve, and soon before they dig themselves into too deep of a hole. But
Yeah.
everyone, be sure like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more. Like I always say, we're going live before and after every single Yankees game this season, so stay tuned for that content. Also, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Let's go, Yankees. Peace.